lot of people don't understand that term, invasive species. So you need to understand that these are plants, some of them very pretty, a Dalmatian toadflax for an example, that just take off and go wild and grow up the mountain and overtake the native species and basically kill them.
Got a little bit of money my senior year to do a research project, and I didn't really know what to do, and I've heard about people using sheep to graze weeds, and got a number for this guy named John Stahl who had some sheep, and he showed up with 10 sheep, and we fenced him in on a patch of weeds in the base of the M Trail right downtown next to University of Montana campus, and they had a lot of weeds, and within like a week or so 6 of the 10 had been killed by domestic dogs. And we realized that we had to definitely make some changes if we were going to take the program any larger than a small pasture.
So he started putting some grants together, and we put little groups of sheep on Mount Jumbo. Probably about 98, I'm not sure on those dates, but we started putting little groups in there just to show them that the sheep really would like to eat the knapweed. The knapweed was our main focus at that time. Leafy spurge hadn't really taken off yet.
All the properties that we graze, Mount Jumbo, the North Hills, they're both pretty large areas. Mount Jumbo is about 1,800 acres. The North Hills is a little over 1,000 acres. And we graze about 1,200 acres across both of those two hillsides.
This will be sheep defecation. It looks like we got all kind. What we're doing is we're taking this and we're putting it in a greenhouse to see if any of the weed seeds germinate. And yeah, this is a very large sample.
The difference with our program is that a lot of other areas, they graze sheep in the backcountry or in areas where you don't have a large urban population close by. And while Missoula by no means is a large city, all of these lands pretty much end. I mean, you can walk from downtown Missoula up onto these hills. From downtown Missoula, you can see these sheep. We have a significant amount of public interaction with these animals, and that alone makes the program pretty unique and makes it kind of difficult to implement. Requires a lot of public buy-in. And then one thing really early on we realized is you just can't pull this off without having full-time herder and additional support staff to make sure that the program runs with minimal flaws. About 7 years ago, the city of Missoula actually decided that the sheep were a viable tool for controlling leafy spurge and could be used to manage weeds on a large scale across the areas where it was hard to get other treatments. And so we started running the appropriate amount of sheep for the right amount of area for an extended period of time. And that's when we started to actually have to hire full-time shepherds to stay with the flock.
You need a very personable person. He's going to be in the paper at least once a year, probably 3 or 4 times a year. He just needs to be one of these neat people to be around. And boy, did we find the right guy. Enrique is the biggest, he's just a joy to be with. I mean, he's just fun to be around, and people come up and see him all the time.
So with a limited budget, you constantly look for the most cost-effective means to meet your management goals. And one thing that we've utilized on Mount Jumbo and then also the North Hills is sheep grazing for leafy spurge control. And while there has been a lot of research done on the ability of sheep to control leafy spurge, there's not been a lot of examples of people using sheep to promote native plant communities. And that's one thing I always tell people is, we're not just up there to control leafy spurge, we're up there to also, get these other 100 plants to reestablish in some cases and continue to improve the habitat in the area.
All that stuff you see there and over there is all slated to do. We're moving the sheep pen on top of Jumbo, and we're gonna restore an area up there.
Yeah.
We got it's easier to kind of just. We used to move the pen around every week or two, just to try to minimize the impact, but we kind of learned that we just increase the impact really. And so when we erect the pen, we'll just know that it's going to be there for 5 years, and that we're going to have a completely sterile zone after we're done with it that we'll have to come in and restore.
De montar planes que tenían un trabajo para mí en un rancho. ¿Quieres irte para Montana? A un rancho ganadero. Sí, cómo no, quiero conocer otra parte. Pero si sabes de rancho, sí, yo sé. Y mándanos una carta que sí sabes, que tienes experiencia. Y les mandé una carta. Bueno, estás aceptado, vas a irte para Montana, a un rancho ganadero. Mi pueblo es Madera, Chihuahua, México. Yo nací poco retirado de Madera, Chihuahua, en unas montañas que se llama el Mineral de Dolores. Desde muy chicos trabajábamos con caballos en aquel entonces, no había tractores. Me acuerdo yo que me mandaba mi abuelito, vete a trabajar con fulano. Pues ahí voy yo con el caballo que casi me tiraba porque estaba muy chico. Ya que tuve yo 16, 17 años, ya decían, en Estados Unidos se gana buena plata. Y pensábamos, hay que irnos para el otro lado a ganar un poco de dinero para seguir viviendo con la familia. Y ya me mandaron los papeles y el contrato y yo no leí el contrato y me vine. Y batallé para llegar aquí a Missoula. Pues no conocía sin conocer a nadie, ni al patrón, ni a nadie. Y llegué a la oficina del transportes y oí una voz que me habló por mi nombre. ¡Enrique! Yo volteé para todos lados y dije, pues ¿quién me conoce aquí? Nadie. Era el Jan, el patrón. Empecé a ver ovejas, dije, hay ovejas aquí también. Y luego ya divisé la casita, ya estaba ahí. Y lo que se paró junto a la casita. Mira, me dijo, esta es tu casa. Oh, wow, le dije, pero ¿por qué? Y este es tu trabajo, dijo. Los chips es tu trabajo. No sé cómo es en español. Son ovejas, le dije. Pues es tu trabajo de ovejas. No, le dije, yo no sé este trabajo. Enrique, sí, tú vienes a un rancho ganadero. Sí, le dije, pero de vacas. Y me dice, este es un rancho ganadero de chip, de ovejas.
It's really hard to find an employee who can saddle a horse blindfolded. It sounds like a weird question, but if you don't know a horse well enough to saddle a horse blindfolded, it's too dangerous for me to put you on the mountain. And so I have to ask that, can you saddle a horse blindfolded? And then the other question is what does away to me mean, or go by? And if they don't know those dog commands, they're not any good to me.
de mi casa.
What happened? Oh, John, you made a
No,
mess.
es every year, every...
We have a population that is very outdoorsy, and they really do recreate a lot. And so having a full-time sheep herder with the flock is really a necessity for a couple reasons. One is to provide protection for the sheep, make sure they're going where they need to go, and then also to just kind of act as that intermediary between the sheep grazing program and recreationists on site.
Enrique's job is not as easy as it looks. One of the things that's really cool about Enrique is I have never seen a man ride like he does. He is incredible what he does with the horse. He is just outstanding. And I have no fear of turning the horse loose with him. He's just a joy to be with. I mean, he's just fun to be around, and people come up and see him all the time. And he has a niche of really close friends. And I keep getting called, I'm going to take Enrique out to have a barbecue. I says, take him. I mean, I'm going to take him to the fair.
Son cintos por lujo por las señoritas.
Oh, wow.
Cinto, ¿sí?
Cintos.
Cinto. No.
Ay, 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 no. No, no por ti, no, no, no.
Wow.
That's incredible, though, when you realize that we started out there at 5 months doing that area, and we got it down controlled to the point now that we're only on there for 3 months with about a third of the number of sheep. And so we are really making progress on the mountain.
Me gusta Missoula por sus montañas, se puede decir por su gente. Su gente es amable, es conmigo, gente de Missoula, mis respetos para la gente de Missoula. Yo quiero mucho a Missoula, a todas las partes. Yo me he paseado poco en Missoula. El plan mío que tengo en madera es un rancho retirado en madera como 2 kilómetros, más o menos, no muy lejos. Es una área montañosa, es un área que hay montañas. Y la oveja, yo pienso poner ovejas, pero no de lana. Es una oveja que decimos nosotros peligüey. Tiene el pelo liso, no es de lana. Es para pura carne, para puro comercio. Quiero empezar con poquitas, unas 40, 50. Jan dice, este año Enrique es bueno, chance otro año tú no vienes para acá porque ya no le van a dar chance de tener las ovejas en esta montaña ni en Loma Norte. Y tiene una chance otro año, un mes al otro lado en la montura, un mes, no más. Y dice que a lo mejor yo ya no vengo otro año para acá, para Missoula. Bueno, un chance que puedo venir 3 meses, dice Jan, quién sabe, no sé. Ojalá, chance que sí. Pero Probable, seguro que a lo mejor no. Bueno, no venimos para Missoula. Me gusta Missoula por trabajo, pero si ya no tiene más trabajo por mí, no más. Vámonos para México. Chanza busco otro patrón. Chanza en Montana, chanza Wyoming, Colorado, no sé. A ver qué pasa.